Hey guys, so today we're going to actually start reading our first text of the year, The Giver. But before we do that, let's go ahead and open our notebooks to the first clean page, and we're going to write the date in the top right-hand corner. Today is August 5th. Then we're going to go ahead and look at our objectives for today. Today we have two objectives. The first is I can identify a central idea in Chapter 1 of The Giver, and the second is I can explain the setting and characterize Jonas. Jonas is our main character. So go ahead and copy those objectives into your notebook. If you need more time, you can pause this video, but I'm going to move on. So our first objective for today is central idea, which is a review for you. So by the end of the chapter, you should be able to identify the central idea of the entire chapter. The second objective for today is setting. The setting of our first novel, The Giver, is in a type of society called a dystopia. A utopia is a perfect society where every single person is equal, so a dystopia is the opposite of that. It seems like or tries to be a perfect society, but really there are all sorts of problems. The main issue is that the society is very tightly controlled in order to eliminate inequalities. There are many rules to follow, and every single person is supposed to be the same. So you never have a chance to think for yourself. For our first unit, we're going to be reading The Giver, which is about a young boy named Jonas living in a dystopia. So make sure you have the definition of dystopia copied down in your notebook. Our last objective is characterization. We're going to be characterizing Jonas, our main character today. There are 5 ways to characterize a character, and that is through the character's appearance, his or her private thoughts, actions, speech, and how others feel about the character. So as we go through and read this first chapter, pay attention to how Jonas is described. Make sure you copy these 5 steps into your notebook. Let's go ahead and begin reading the chapter. Take out your book and turn to the first page. Go ahead and put your finger on it. I'm going to read aloud and model how we're going to be taking notes on the setting and characterization today. I do want you to read along, and when I pause to take some notes, you'll copy them down into your notebooks. So on page 1. It was almost December, and Jonas was beginning to be frightened. No, wrong word, Jonas thought. Frightened meant that deep, sickening feeling of something terrible about to happen. Frightened was the way he had felt a year ago when an unidentified aircraft had overflown the community twice. He had seen it both times. Squinting toward the sky, he had seen the sleek jet, almost a blur at its high speed, go past, and a second later heard the blast of sound that followed. Then one more time, a moment later, from the opposite direction, the same plane. At first he had been only fascinated. He had never seen aircraft so close, for it was against the rules for pilots to fly over the community. Occasionally, when supplies were delivered by cargo planes to the landing field across the river, the children rode their bicycles to the riverbank and watched, intrigued, the unloading and then the takeoff directed to the west, always away from the community. But the aircraft a year ago had been different. It was not a squat, fat-bellied cargo plane, but a needle-nosed single-pilot jet. Jonas, looking around anxiously, had seen others, adults as well as children, stop what they were doing and wait, confused, for an explanation of the frightening event. So we're going to pause there for a second, and we see that when the plane flies over the community, all of these people are feeling very frightened. Now, I've never been frightened by a plane flying over me because we see that every day. So this is one instance where we're reading a sentence that tells us a little bit about the setting of the novel. He had never seen aircraft so close, for it was against the rules for pilots to fly over the community. So what that tells me is it's describing the setting. So put that in your second column. And in my own words, I'm going to say that because of the sentence, we know that airplanes are not common in Jonas's society. So that's what makes it different from our own. Make sure you copy that into your worksheet. All right, I'm going to turn the page and keep on going. Then all of the citizens had been ordered to go into the nearest building and stay there. Immediately, the rasping voice of the speakers had said, "Leave your bicycles where they are." Instantly, obediently, Jonas had dropped his bike on its side on the path behind his family's dwelling. He had run indoors and stayed there, alone. His parents were both at work, and his little sister, Lily, was at the child care center where she spent her after-school hours. So here's another thing that makes me a little bit confused. It says, instantly, obediently, Jonas had dropped his bike on its side on the path behind his family's dwelling. So first, I can tell that this sentence gives us a little bit of information about Jonas's character, and I know that he always follows the rules. But it also tells me something about the setting. Jonas refers to his family's house as a dwelling. And that's a little bit strange to me, because I know I don't call my home a dwelling. And the word home or the word house is very personal, and it has a lot of memories for you. That's where your family lives. It means a lot to you. But Jonas isn't calling the place where he lives a home. He's calling it a dwelling, which is much less personal. So I can tell that he doesn't have a whole lot of emotional ties to his house. So this is what I'm going to write in the right-hand column. I'm going to say they call homes dwellings, so they are less personal. Go ahead and copy that, and when you're finished, we're going to move into a group read. So go ahead and close your Chromebook tops for now and spin around and face the front so that I know you're ready to start.